Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. I'm here at Mile High Megacomp 2023, the biggest cubing competition in Colorado history by about double. There's going to be 250 people competing in 10 rounds of events, so let's go ahead and check it out. Now I actually have to compete in the very first group of the day in 6x6 in about 10 minutes, so I should probably get warmed up. Now this first round felt a little bit rushed. They actually called us up early, just as I was starting my first practice solve, so I was not warmed up at all. 6x6 is also an event where just last year I got a really massive PR of about 15 seconds, so needless to say, I wasn't really expecting a PR in this round, and I definitely didn't get one. I ended up being around 20 seconds slower with a 3:35. Well, that round didn't go amazing. We'll blame it on the one practice solve. But hey, at least I got a mean. I think next up I have to help scramble Skewb. Alright, scrambling successful. Now it's time to compete in Skewb. At my last competition I got an amazing sub 5 average, so now I really have no expectations. Skewb has really been a weird event for me for quite a while because I'm really good at the intermediate method of just spamming sledgehammers everywhere, and I know quite a lot of the advanced cases. I'm just really slow at recognizing those, so I end up getting a lot of really good times, but also a few really bad times, which is what you're seeing in this average right here. 3 good solves and 2 bad solves makes for an okay average. We'll have to see if that makes it to finals. Anyway, next up is the main event of the day, 3x3. Well, I managed to sneak in about 5 minutes of practice before my 3x3 round, and I'm actually solving really well right now, so let's try and get a 13-second average. 3x3 was a funny one because all of my official averages this year have been really slow, like 16 seconds, whereas before this round, I was just feeling really good, telling myself to turn slow, focus on look ahead, and it must have worked because this average was much less terrible than all my other ones this year. Granted, what I really need is just to start practicing more regularly, but in the absence of that, it is nice to know that turning slower really does make you faster. Alright, that was one of my best ever official 3x3 averages. Super happy about that. Next up is the final round of Skewb, which I actually made it into. Skewb Finals are always a little bit nerve-wracking, knowing that it's the one event where I actually have a chance of making the podium, but at this competition, I wasn't thinking about that at all, and I think because of that, I actually solved a little bit better. But it is a little bit heartbreaking looking back at that 6.6 where I messed up an easy case, and knowing that I would have podiumed if it were about a second faster. Another 3 good solves and 2 bad solves. Not gonna podium, but at least it beats my first round average. But this morning has just been non-stop solving and filming and talking to fans, so luckily now we get a short break for lunch. Back from lunch, now it's time for the second round of 3x3. I'm definitely not going to make finals, but let's try and at least keep up the good average. Okay, scratch that. Let's just sit here and appreciate this 7-second cross. Just look at that amazing solving right there. Such efficiency. Oh, it's almost done, and there we go. So obviously this round didn't go too great. That whole turning slowly thing kind of went out the window, and I somehow ended up messing up a bunch of my crosses. Let's just pretend that never happened and move on to the first round of 4x4. This was one of those averages where you get a really good time at the very beginning, you get a little bit nervous, and then it's all downhill from there. I was getting a lot of high 40s, low 50s in practice, so I knew it definitely had PR potential, but that very quickly turned into a bunch of mediocre times, each one getting slower than the last, so let this be a lesson. Always wait until the end of your average to get a good solve. Pretty good single, pretty good average, but no PRs. That's kind of the theme of today. Next up is Pyraminx. Ah, the PokeCube. This is probably the event where I'm most in need of practice right now, because I learned a new method quite a few years back, got good enough to justify switching from my old method, but then never actually practiced enough to get as fast as I used to be. So that 5.34 is now by far my longest running PR from 2017. Wow, those were the world's easiest scrambles. Kinda makes me wish I'd practiced Pyraminx sometime in the last year. There still is a chance that I make it to finals though. And time for the last new event of the day, Megaminx. I can't say I've really been practicing too much, but we'll see how it goes. Not only have I not been practicing Megaminx, but it was also getting towards the end of the day, and I just could not muster the amount of look ahead and piece recognition that you need to be fast at this cube. So I ended up with 2 barely acceptable times, although even those were a lot slower than my PR average, followed by a bunch of times that were just absolute garbage. I guess that's a sign that I should probably do more than 0 practice solves before a competition. Well, that went about how I should have expected, given how much I practiced. Luckily, though, I did make Pyraminx Finals, so I still have one more chance to compete for the day. Yeah, this one didn't go too great either, but funny story, I was actually in 16th place in round 1 of Pyraminx, so the very last person to make it into finals, and then in the finals here, despite my terrible average, I ended up improving to 15th place. Granted, the only reason that happened is because the 16th place person DNF'd their average, but you know what, I'll take that technical win over getting dead last in a round. Well, realistically, that's probably closer to what I actually average on Pyraminx right now, but that concludes my 9th and final round of the day. The only one I didn't make it into was 3x3 finals, but that was definitely one of my favorite Colorado cubing competitions. It kind of felt like a mini nationals with so many people here. It was just cool to have such a big local competition. I did really well on a few events, not so great in others, but overall I'm still happy with my results. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.